The stars were silent when Liam's ship crashed on the moon called Veros. It wasn't on any map, hidden behind black clouds and dead signals. Smoke rose from the engine as Liam crawled out, bruised but alive. He looked around and saw only sharp rocks, gray dust, and a strange tower rising from the surface. The tower didn't belong here. It was old. Made of silver stone and glowing symbols, Liam grabbed his gear and stepped inside. His boots echoed in the cold hallway as lights flickered above him. The deeper he walked, the stranger it became. He saw walls covered in alien writing, pictures of a girl standing beside a giant beast. Each image showed her smiling, even when ships were burning behind her. He shivered and moved forward, unsure what he was walking into. Then he heard something. A soft humming voice, gentle and calm. It came from the last room at the end of the hallway. Liam gripped his blaster and stepped in. There she was, a beautiful alien girl, sitting on a stone bench. Her silver hair fell over her shoulders, and her blue skin shimmered in the dim light. Chains wrapped around her wrists and ankles, holding her to the wall, but she smiled when she saw him. Not scared, not angry, just a strange, peaceful smile. "You're not supposed to be here," she said softly. Her voice was like music, calm and smooth. Liam raised his blaster, confused. "Who are you? Why are you locked up?" he asked. She tilted her head, still smiling. "I could ask you the same," she replied, "but that would be rude." He lowered his weapon, feeling a chill run through his spine. "This place. It's not on any charts," he said. "What is this place? Why are you here?" She looked at the chains and then at him. "This is a prison," she said, "but not for me." He frowned. "Then who's the prisoner?" She leaned forward and the chains clinked gently. "There's something behind that wall," she whispered, pointing to a thick metal wall on the right side. "It sleeps for now, but if I say the wrong word, it wakes up." Liam stepped back, looking at the wall. "What is it?" he asked. "A monster," she said with a smile. "My monster." He laughed nervously. "You're joking, right?" She shook her head slowly, still smiling. "I warned the last one who came here, but he didn't listen," she said. "Now he's gone." Liam looked around, noticing scratches on the floor, like something had been dragged. There were dried stains on the wall, maybe blood, maybe not. He swallowed hard. "You don't look like a prisoner," he said carefully. "You don't sound like one either." She shrugged gently, her eyes glowing faintly. "I was never a prisoner," she said, "but they thought chaining me would protect them." Liam stared at her, unsure if she was dangerous or just playing games. He stepped closer, his voice softer now. "Do you want help? Should I unlock you?" She smiled wider. "You're kind," she said, "but if you unlock me, the prison loses control." "Control of what?" he asked. She pointed to the wall again, "Of what lies beyond that wall." She said, "It lives only for me, and it moves when I speak." The ground shook suddenly. Dust fell from the ceiling, and Liam froze. "What was that?" he whispered. She didn't flinch. "It hurt us," she said. Then she looked at him, smile fading slightly. "One word from me, and it will tear everything apart." Liam looked at the chains, at her calm face, at the trembling walls. He didn't know what to believe. She looked peaceful, but the fear in his chest was real. "Why are you smiling?" he asked quietly. She looked at him kindly. "Because I warned you," she said. "And now? It's your choice." Liam backed away slowly, unsure what he had just walked into. Behind him, the metal wall groaned again. Something large was breathing. Something. Not human, not machine. He turned and ran back up the hallway, her voice echoing behind him. "I warned you with a smile," she said gently, "and I will do it again." As Liam reached the surface, he looked up at the stars. Now he knew this moon was not forgotten. It was hidden for a reason, and the girl chained below. She was not the prisoner. She was the lock, and someone had just found the key. Liam could not stop thinking about the girl's words. Even after returning to the surface, her voice stayed in his mind. "One word from me, and my monster will tear everything apart," she had said. But how could someone so calm, so gentle, speak of monsters like that? He looked back at the entrance of the ancient tower. Smoke still rose from his broken ship, so he had no choice. He needed answers. Power, maybe even help. And something deep inside told him that this girl and her so-called monster were the key. He went back down the hallway, slowly. Every step echoed louder than the last, as if the walls were listening. The drawings on the walls seemed to glow slightly now. The girl's face in the images still smiled next to the beast, always smiling, always watching. When he reached the chamber again, she was still there, still chained, still sitting, still smiling. "You came back," she said gently. "You shouldn't have." Liam looked around and pointed toward the metal wall. "Is it really behind there?" he asked. "The monster?" She nodded slowly. "It has no name," she said, "because nothing ever lived long enough to give it one." Liam took a step closer to the wall. It was thick, made from some glowing black metal, scratches covered. It, like claws, had tried to break out. He placed his hand on the cold surface and felt it breathing, slow and heavy. "It's alive," he whispered. "Yes," she replied, "and always hungry." He turned back to her, his voice sharp. "Why are you chained, if it only obeys you?" She smiled again, but there was sadness. "Now, because I used to speak too freely," she said. "And when I did, cities fell." Liam blinked, shocked. "You destroyed cities." "No," she said. "I spoke, and it listened." He sat on the edge of a broken stone bench, staring at the floor. This place was more than a prison, it was a warning. And yet, the girl was never angry, never afraid. That scared him more than anything else. Suddenly, a low growl came from the wall, deep and heavy. The chains around the girl rattled. Even though she didn't move, the ground trembled softly. Like a giant was shifting in its sleep, Liam jumped to his feet, his heart racing. "What was that?" She looked at the wall, her voice calm. "It's dreaming," she said, "but your presence stirs it." He stepped back, eyes wide. "Why me?" "Because you smell like war," she answered, "and it hates war." Liam looked down at his uniform, his soldier's badge. He remembered the battles he had fought, the lives taken, the orders given. Maybe she was right. Maybe the monster didn't just serve her. Maybe it sensed everything around it. He moved away from the wall, breathing heavily. "You said you were worshipped once," he said. "Why did it end?" She closed her eyes for a moment. They feared what they did not control. She whispered, "When the monster protected them, they praised me. But when it destroyed their enemies too easily, they began to fear me. So they locked me here, and the monster." Liam asked, "It stayed because I stayed," she said. "It waits for my word." He sat again, watching her closely. "Why haven't you said it?" She smiled sadly. "Because I no longer know if I'm the hero or the villain." Silence filled the room, heavy and tense. The only sound was the monster breathing behind the wall. Suddenly, Liam heard a soft click. The floor under him shifted, and a part of the wall behind the girl opened slightly. A blast of warm air rushed through, smelling like fire and ash. He stood quickly and looked inside. He saw it, just a shape in the dark, a large eye glowing red, staring back at him. It didn't blink, didn't move, just watched. Liam backed away slowly, closing the panel, his hands shaking. "It saw me," he whispered. "Yes," she said quietly. "Now it will remember you." Liam stared at her, breathing fast. "You're not scared?" he asked. "No," she said. "It will not harm me, not unless I say the word." He wiped sweat from his face. "I need to fix my ship," he muttered. "I need to get out of here." "You can try," she said softly, "but this moon does." Not like visitors leaving with secrets, he looked back once more at the chained girl. Still calm, still smiling, still terrifying. The monster behind the wall rumbled again. Louder this time, he turned and ran. This time, he didn't stop to. Look at the pictures. He didn't listen to her voice, because now he knew the truth. The monster was real. It was awake, and it knew his name. Liam couldn't sleep, even though he had sealed himself inside the broken cockpit of his crashed ship. His mind stayed wide awake. The girl's voice, her calm warnings, and that single glowing eye behind the wall, all of it played in loops. Through his thoughts, his fingers tapped on the dashboard. Useless now, power cells were dead, communications fried. He was stuck, alone on a cursed moon, with a girl who spoke like a queen and a monster that waited for her word. But one question echoed louder than all. Who was she, really? And why did she speak of war like it was something she had lived through again and again? The next morning, or what felt like morning under the dull red sky, Liam went back down. He didn't know why. Curiosity, fear, or something else pulled him there. She was still there, as if time didn't touch her. "You came again," she said without surprise. "I had questions," Liam replied, sitting down carefully across from her. "Then I will answer," she said. Folding her hands gently in her lap, he pointed to the images on the wall, the ones of her and the beast. "These," he said, "are they real?" "Yes," she nodded. "Then you were more than just a prisoner," he said. "You were a commander." "I was a voice," she replied, "the voice that moved armies and stilled storms." She paused, her gaze distant, as if seeing memories no one else could. "Tell me," Liam said. "I want to understand." She looked at him for a long moment and began to speak. "There was a time when your kind came not to visit, but to conquer," she said. "Planet by planet, you took what you wanted. We were peaceful, but too many, too scattered. We lost quickly." She pointed to the floor. "That's when they found me. Hidden in the mountains of a dying world. I was not born with power, but something old found me." "The monster?" Liam asked. "Yes," she said, "but it was not a monster then. It was a spirit of balance. A force created by nature to protect the weak." She leaned forward, her voice softer now. "It heard my cry when my family was taken," it answered. Liam watched her eyes calm, but glowing faintly. "And then what?" he asked. "I spoke," she said, "and it moved. It destroyed the invaders, protected the last cities. The people saw me as a savior." Liam nodded slowly. "You won the war?" "No," she replied. "I stopped a massacre. But then others came, hungry for power, human soldiers." "Yes, and even my own people," she said, her voice colder now. "They wanted to use the beast for their own gain, so they chained you," Liam whispered. She nodded. "They said I was too dangerous." The air felt heavy now. Liam stood and walked to the images again. One showed her standing over piles of weapons. The monster beside her, its shape still unclear, but massive. Another showed her raising her hand while ships burned behind her. "You were feared," he said. She didn't answer. He turned back to her. "But you never ordered it to kill." "I only ever asked it to protect," she replied. "It chose how." Another low rumble shook the walls. Liam felt it deep in his chest, like thunder inside bones. "It still remembers," she said. "All of it." He stepped back, nervous. "Why did you show me this?" "Because you're not the first human who found this moon," she said. "But you are the first who asked to understand." Suddenly, a section of the wall behind her slid open, revealing a holographic screen. Old recordings played, blurry and dusty with age. The first showed humans invading a blue planet, firing on unarmed civilians. The next showed her younger, standing in front of the beast, commanding it with a single word. It moved like a shadow made of storms, crushing tanks. And swallowing fire, Liam watched in silence. He had been taught that humans brought peace to the galaxy. But this was something else. A war rewritten, a truth buried. Why haven't you escaped? He asked finally. You have the power. I gave my word, she said. I said I would not speak again, not unless it was needed. And now? Liam asked. She looked up slowly. The galaxy has forgotten what monsters truly look like. She said, I wonder if it's time they remembered. Liam's breath caught in his throat. Something inside him told him this was only the beginning. The past wasn't dead. It was sleeping, just like the creature behind the wall. Waiting for one word, Liam returned to the chamber again. But this time, he wasn't just curious. He was restless. Haunted by what he had seen, the memories she shared, the images of war, and the recordings of destruction. None of it matched the history he had been taught. She was already waiting, sitting in silence, as if she knew he would come. He didn't speak right away. Just walked around the room, eyes scanning the cracks. In the floor, the writing on the walls, he paused in front of a dark corner. Where dust had been disturbed, there's something here, he said, kneeling. She didn't answer, only watched him with her calm, unreadable smile. Liam brushed the dust away and found a hidden panel in the floor. It was metal, old and rusted, with one word engraved in glowing red. Forbidden? He glanced back at her. What is this? She blinked slowly, then said, That is the switch. For what? He asked, heart pounding. For ending silence, she replied. For waking the forgotten. Liam hesitated, his hand hovering above the panel. It's a trap, isn't it? Not for you, she said. For the galaxy, his fingers touched. The edge of the panel, cold and humming with weak energy. Why would someone leave a switch like this here? It was placed by those who feared me most, she said. They knew I wouldn't break my word, so they built this, hoping no one else ever would. Liam stood up and walked over to her. Why, tell me about it. He asked, why lead me? Here. She looked into his eyes, her voice softer than before. Because you still haven't decided what you are, she said. A soldier or something else. He didn't answer. Instead, he turned and stared at the wall that held the beast. It was silent now, but he could still feel its breath, deep and slow, like a sleeping volcano. Liam walked back to the switch, heart beating faster. He looked down and saw another line of text. Below the word forbidden, faint but clear. Press only if you trust her. He closed his eyes, trying to calm the storm inside his head. She hadn't lied to him yet, but that didn't make her safe. And the monster, whatever it was, waited for her command. If he pressed this switch, would she control it or would it be free? I don't know what's right anymore, he muttered. Right is not always safe. She replied, but sometimes safe becomes a cage. Liam crouched beside the switch again. His hand trembled as he pressed his palm to the glowing circle. A low click echoed through the chamber. The lights flickered, and then everything went dark. He stood quickly, reaching for his flashlight. Red emergency lights turned on above, casting long shadows across the room. The chains on her arms began to glow, then faded. One by one, she stood slowly, her movements graceful and calm. Liam stepped back, unsure what he had just done. You're free, he whispered. No, she said, looking around. I'm responsible. The ground began to shake violently. The metal wall behind her cracked slightly. Releasing a gust of hot air, the sound of growling filled the room. Louder now, no longer distant. You woke it, she said quietly. Now I must speak, Liam shouted over the noise. Can you control it? She turned to him with a sad smile. I can try, suddenly. Alarms blared from the tower's upper levels. A red hologram flickered on one of the walls. Unauthorized activation detected. Security protocol initiated. What's happening? Liam shouted. "Others are coming," she said. They never left this place unguarded. Through the shaking walls, he heard the sound of ships descending, security drones, fast and armed. The tower had called them. Triggered by the forbidden switch. "You need to run," she said, stepping toward him, her chains now lying in pieces at her feet. "No," he said, not without answers. "There's no time," she warned. "But if you stay by my side, you will see the truth." The wall behind them roared again, and this time a piece fell away from the crack. A massive claw appeared, black, sharp, and covered in glowing lines. The monster was no longer dreaming. "Come," she said. Holding out her hand, Liam took it. Feeling her strange warmth, they ran together. Not toward the exit, but deeper into the tower. Behind them, metal shattered, the monster stepping through slowly. Its eyes locked on the girl, and then it stopped. Waiting for her word, she turned her head slightly and whispered, "Not yet." The beast stood still, but the moment stretched like a thread ready to snap. Liam looked at her, terrified, but also in awe. He had pressed the forbidden switch, and now the galaxy's silence was over. The tower shook with every step the beast took. Metal groaned, lights burst, and walls cracked under its weight. But it didn't roar, it didn't attack, it simply followed her, each step calm and precise. Liam ran beside her, his heart racing. The girl was silent now, her expression focused and cold, even without chains. She carried herself like a queen, and the monster obeyed her like a loyal guard. They entered a vast hall deep beneath the surface, once a command center, now covered in dust and broken screens. The beast stopped at the entrance and sat like a shadow behind her. Its eyes never blinked, always watching her, always listening. Liam stared at it, unable to look away. Its body was like smoke and armor mixed together. Parts of it shifted like it wasn't made of just flesh, and yet it moved like it had a soul. "What is it made of?" he asked, breathless. She didn't look at him. "It was never made," she said. "It was born from silence and storm." The monster's chest glowed with faint lines that pulsed slowly. Liam stepped closer, carefully. "Can I touch it?" "No," she said quickly, her voice sharp for the first time. "It responds only to me." Liam backed away. "Why?" "Because it knows my voice," she replied. "It lives only for it." As she walked forward, the floor lit beneath her feet. Old systems came online, reading her presence. A hologram flickered to life in front of them, showing planets, ships, and something red spreading across star maps. "What is that?" Liam asked, pointing to the red. She stared at it silently, then answered, "The empire that buried me." Liam stepped closer, watching the map zoom in. Hundreds of systems blinked red. Ships were moving, armies growing. "They're preparing for war," he said. "They never stopped," she whispered. "They just waited for me to be forgotten." The monster behind them rumbled softly. It sensed her anger, her memories rising again. But she remained calm, steady. "I won't speak the word yet," she said aloud, and the beast sat quietly again. Liam walked over to her. "You don't have to fight them," he said. "They fear you, but maybe things are different now." She looked at him with tired eyes. "Fear doesn't change with time," she said. "It grows in silence and explodes when forgotten." Suddenly, the wall to their left exploded. Flames burst through, and armed drones flew in. Their weapons charged, targeting the monster first. "Hostile detected," the drone said. "Stand down or be neutralized." The girl raised her hand not to attack, but to shield Liam. The beast stood instantly, blocking them both with its massive frame. Shots were fired, but they melted. On its dark skin, the drone screamed warnings, but the monster didn't move. It waited, still listening for her command. "Should I say it?" she asked, her voice soft. Liam grabbed her arm. "Don't," he said. Please. Not yet. She hesitated, then lowered her hand. The beast let out a soft growl, deep and low. Then it turned and roared, not a war cry, but a sound of warning. The sound echoed through the tunnels, shaking the very bones of the tower. The drones paused, their systems confused. A few retreated. The rest hovered in fear. Liam watched, amazed. It warned them, he said. Yes, she replied. Because? I told it to wait, but if you didn't? He asked. She looked at him, her voice colder now. Then there would be nothing left to warn. The floor lit again, and another path opened. She turned and walked toward it. The monster followed, always close, never ahead. Liam ran to catch up. Where are we going now? To the gate, she said, the only way off this moon. But you said no one leaves with secrets, Liam said. You're no longer a secret, she replied. You are a witness now. They reached a tall chamber with a round door. Made of crystal and steel, ancient locks shifted and opened as she approached. Her presence was enough. No codes, no keys, just her. The gate began to open slowly. Revealing the stars beyond, Liam stepped forward. Feeling the cold wind of space, he turned to her. You're really going out there? Yes, she said simply, to remind them what they buried and the monster. It will not move. She said, unless I speak. The wind howled, the stars called, and behind them, the monster waited. Loyal, silent, still. Liam looked at her one last time. What are you? He asked. She smiled. The voice it listens to, she said, and maybe. The storm they deserve. The gate stood open, its glowing circle humming softly as stars blinked beyond. Liam had never seen space look so wide, so dangerous. But the girl stood still, her silver hair moving with the cold wind. She wasn't looking at the stars, she was listening behind them. The monster crouched like a shadow ready to rise, silent, patient, powerful. Its eyes flickered gently, waiting for her signal. Suddenly, a loud alarm echoed through the ancient tower. A sharp voice filled the air, mechanical and cold, unauthorized. Gate activation detected. Fleet response incoming. Liam turned quickly, looking at the holograms nearby. Hundreds of red dots appeared across the screen. Enemy ships, security drones, TAC cruisers closing in fast. They're coming, he said, heart pounding. She nodded, as if she had expected this all along. They were always watching, she said. They were just waiting for me to move. Liam stepped toward the gate, but stopped when he saw something strange. The stars were shifting. Something large was coming from the darkness. Ships appeared, massive ones, shaped like claws and blades. Each ship bore the same emblem, the empire that once feared her. They're not here to talk, Liam whispered. No, she said. They're here to make sure I never leave. A deep hum filled the air as energy fields locked onto the tower. Red beams hit the surface, creating fire and thunder across the rocky landscape. The tower shook, cracks spreading across the walls. They're trying to bury you again, Liam said. She didn't move, only looked at the gate. If I speak, she said softly, the beast will destroy everything. Then speak, Liam said. They won't stop unless you do. But she shook her head. Not yet. The first wave hit the tower. Dropships with soldiers poured from the sky. Liam grabbed a plasma rifle from a fallen drone and fired back. But he was only one man. He looked at her, desperate. You need to say it now, the monster behind her growled, but stayed still. I told you, she said gently. It moves only when I command it, and you won't. Only when there's no other choice. The floor exploded beside them, throwing Liam backward. She stood in the middle of the chaos, untouched by smoke or fear. The monster stepped forward, protecting her without a sound. The soldiers entered the chamber, weapons raised. Stand down. One shouted, "Deactivate the gate and surrender the entity." Liam raised his weapon again. "She's not a threat," he yelled. "She hasn't attacked anyone. She is the threat." The soldier shouted back. "She is the voice. More." Drones entered, hovering with red eyes, targeting the beast. They fired. The beams hit its skin, but did nothing. It didn't move, didn't roar. It waited. The girl looked down, pain flickering in her eyes. "They want me to lose control," she whispered. "They want to prove I'm dangerous." One of the blasts hit Liam's shoulder, sending him to the ground. He groaned, blood on his uniform. The girl turned sharply, her voice rising for the first time. "Enough," she said, and the monster moved. It leaped over her like a wave of darkness. Its roar shattered the air. Its claws slammed into the enemy lines, crushing metal, breaking stone. One swing sent 5 drones crashing into the walls. The soldiers screamed and scattered. The beast moved like a storm, fast and unstoppable, but it never touched Liam. It only attacked those who aimed at her. She walked forward through the smoke. Eyes glowing now, the gate pulsed behind her, ready to open completely. Liam stood, holding his bleeding shoulder, watching in awe. "You called it," he said. "I called justice," she replied. "They called this battle." The last drone fired one final shot toward her. The monster caught it midair and crushed it between its teeth. Then it stood still again, its rage ending as quickly as it began. Outside, the enemy ships began to pull back. They had seen what she could still do, and they were afraid again. The sky grew quiet, only smoke rising from the broken rocks. Liam stepped beside her. "What now?" he asked. She turned toward the gate. "We leave," she said. "There's no safety here anymore. But where will you go?" "To the systems that forgot me," she said, "to remind them that I am still here." The monster followed silently. As she stepped through the gate, Liam looked back one last time at the tower, burning, broken, no longer a prison. Then he followed her through the light, and the gate closed behind them. The stars looked brighter on the other side of the gate. Liam stepped out into a new sky, a strange world beneath his feet. This place was quiet, almost peaceful, but he knew it wouldn't last. The girl stood still, her eyes scanning the horizon. The monster crouched beside her, silent as always. They were no longer hiding, no longer bound, and the galaxy had felt their return. "What is this place?" Liam asked, looking around. The ground was soft and blue, and floating rocks hovered. In the sky, old structures stood in ruins, half-eaten by nature and time. "This was once a temple," she said. "One of many. Yours." She nodded. "My people built these long ago to honor peace." Liam looked at the broken statues and overgrown halls. "They don't look peaceful now," he said. "No," she replied. "They forgot." She walked toward a cracked pedestal. At the center of the clearing, it lit up as she stepped near, humming with forgotten energy. A beacon rose from the center, sending a pulse into the sky. A signal, a message, a warning. "Are you calling someone?" Liam asked carefully. She didn't answer. Not yet. Far above, the signal spread through space. Across sectors, into the old systems, it reached satellites, stations, and sleeping archives. Her voice calm and firm code through every receiver. "You chained me because you feared my silence. Now I speak again, you will not chain me twice." On distant planets, officials watched in panic. Leaders who once called her myth now saw her alive. Systems that erased her name from history now faced it again. And the storm they buried had found its voice. Back on the temple moon, Liam stood beside her, unsure of what he had helped unleash. "You're declaring war," he said. "No," she replied. "I'm declaring truth." The monster sat calmly behind her, its breathing steady. It didn't snarl or roar. It didn't have to. It was no longer a threat, it was a promise. Liam lowered his weapon, the one he hadn't even realized he still held. "You don't need that," she said, smiling slightly. "I know," he said. Force of habit. They sat near the pedestal. As stars shifted above, the galaxy was stirring, voices rising on every world, some in fear, others in hope. She was no longer forgotten. "Do you think they'll come for you?" He asked. "They already have," she said. "They'll send peace first, then pressure, then weapons. Will you fight them all?" She looked at him with soft eyes. "Only if they make me." He leaned back, looking at the stars. "Do you regret anything?" He asked after a moment. She was quiet for a long time, then finally said, "Yes. I regret staying silent so long." The wind picked up slightly, brushing through the ruins. Liam looked at her, watching her calm face. "You still smile," he said, "even when you know a storm is coming." She turned to him and smiled one last time. "That's because storms don't scare me." She whispered, "I was born in one." Suddenly, the pedestal blinked red. Another signal was coming in, an incoming transmission. She stood, eyes focused on the growing light. Liam stood beside her, ready for whatever came next. The message played, crackling with static. Then a voice, firm, cold, and full of control, spoke. "You are not authorized to reactivate ancient systems. Surrender your guardian and return to exile." Final warning. She didn't flinch, didn't speak. Instead, she turned to the monster, who stood slowly, waiting. Then she looked at Liam. "You came as a soldier," she said. "But now you are a witness." He nodded. "I won't look away." The sky above shifted again, warships breaking through the clouds. Her eyes remained on the light, not on the weapons. "Let them come," she said quietly. The monster growled. Low and steady, its body began to glow, the old lines pulsing brighter with every heartbeat. "This time," she whispered, "we don't run." And then, just before she turned away, she gave him her final gift. A small smile, gentle and sure. The same smile she gave him on the day they met. The same smile she gave before warning him about her monster. But this time, her smile wasn't a warning. It was a promise that she was ready, that the galaxy would hear her again. And no matter what happened next, she would not whisper, she would roar.